It's not very often that I visit my Instagram account, but it's interesting how, like, abruptly I stopped putting stuff on it after I got bit by a dog. This was the day I got bit by the dog. I actually posted the pictures a few days later. The dog bite was on March 3rd. I had these on my phone, and then once I loaded them about 10, 11 days later. But this was the house. You can't miss it. It's got a tricycle on the roof. You can't fucking miss the house. I had taken this picture right before it happened because, as you'll see in my Instagram account, I was taking pictures of a lot of artwork that was in the field. Interesting things that I saw. So, like, before I took that picture, I took this picture when I was at lunch of a local store that had some interesting paintings outside. And this one I took after the dog bite. He did not get through the jeans, but the pinch was severe enough that he did break the skin through the jeans. And you can't really see it on this side of the leg, but the scarring actually went down my calf. Not scarring, bruising went down my calf and up my thigh. There's another picture that shows that a little bit better, but there's some interesting photos here. This is from the basement at Unite Here Local 11 in Los Angeles. And I did get permission to take photos of these posters. I made sure that I was allowed to take pictures of these posters and that I wasn't taking pictures of anything that would be considered, internal information that would relate to the campaign or to their union operations or anything like that. But they had some really cool posters down in the basement for their various actions. This is all on my Instagram account. This one, for some reason, they can't get it to stay up. I'm not sure why. I don't know what they need to do with that poster, but they can't get it to stick on the wall. And this window right here is formerly the office of Hugo Soto Martinez when he was an organizer for Unite Here. But obviously he had to leave his post because he wanted to run for city council, and you can't have any coordination with PACs. So he had to completely separate, but that was the office in which he had been operating before he decided to run. I think that's it for those. This was a few days before I got bit, when I was managing 2 canvassers at the dog park in Silver Lake. So I grabbed some photos of what it looked like at the dog park while I was there. I had slowed down how many pictures I was taking because I also was a team lead at this point, and so I had to be I had more responsibilities during my shift and couldn't stop and smell the roses as much, if you will. This was during the Rams victory parade. This was kind of cool. This is like a I don't know if you want to call them a gang, but it's like a bunch of elderly black men that get together with these fancy bikes. I did ask them for permission to take photos of the bikes too, because I thought they were so cool looking. This is all at the Rams parade. That they were trying out something new. They were trying to see if we could get more signatures by being out in the crowd, and kind of just asking people out in the crowd. But this was probably the wrong event to do it at, because these people were absolutely not focused on any sort of political actions that day. All they cared about was the fact that the Rams won. So some people were super successful, others were not. I think it was challenging for most of the people who went out there, but some people did make it work really well. was a beautiful day. That also was Robert's first day on the job. Um, this one was, this was kind of near Silver Lake Echo Park area. You know, this is one of the reasons I actually really enjoyed the job, because I was always out in the fresh air. I was always seeing interesting things. This is the gate that I was talking about, the ugly gate that Mitch O'Farrell put around Echo Park after the showdown with the homeless people, when they cleaned out the park of all the homeless people, and they also prevented street vendors from going in there and being able to earn a living. Put this gate up. I forgot about that statue. That was a weird statue. I was walking with, I think I was walking with Caden that night. There's one of my canvassers that I was trading. It was either Caden or Andy. I always got the two of them confused because they were both tall and kind of had short hair and very fair skin, and my eyesight sucks. Everybody would always tell me, how can you confuse these two guys? They don't look anything like each other. And I'm like, I don't know, my eyesight sucks. Yeah, that's something up in Hollywood. They name their apartment buildings, which is really interesting. The Blackheart. They name their apartment buildings. I love mosaics. This was actually, I think we had 2 turfs that day, because I seem to remember we started out a little closer to the park that we launched in, and this was a different precinct, but it was the same day. This one was in Hollywood. This is Hollywood. That might have been the day that I had to help Andy when he got his car towed. A different Andy when he got his car towed. I have some pretty good stuff on my Instagram account. I just haven't really paid attention to it because I've, been down and out for the count. This was, I think, taken from the Silver Lake area. Yeah, Silver Lake today. Overlooking downtown LA. Some really interesting views. Oh, this is one of these super steep streets over in that area. It's probably a little closer to like Echo Park, but this is this side of town is where the steepest street in Los Angeles is. They have some insanely steep streets that we had to canvass. Yeah, like here's one of the staircases. All of the front doors are off of the staircase. I guess I can just scroll down, right? They did have some community pantries, and they had some, like, of the community. This is actually Atwater Village, because I remember that door. It's, like, just there. Like, you could totally walk around it if you wanted. It's, like, just, like, this really interesting door that they put in their front yard. Like, it's just, like, you totally walk around it. This, I think, this might have been Glendale. No, I don't think so. If it's January 28th, it had to have been in the CD 13, City Council District 13 area, because we started that, like, I want to say halfway through January. Yeah, it's probably... There's two here. There's some really great signage, art, all kinds of stuff that we came across while we were walking. This one is in Glendale. This was, I asked for permission to take a picture of it because I was standing there getting signatures. And so I always try and be mindful, you know, if, like, I'm talking to the person, I'm like, hey, you have a really cool statue. Can I take a picture of it? This was also Glendale, but it was like a rougher part of town. And I remember these buildings totally reeked of weed. Okay, this would have been Laguna. So this is one of the last days I was in Laguna, probably. Beware of dragons. Yeah, this would have been like one of the very last days I was in Laguna. That's a gate. That little corner thing is actually a gate. Tree houses. Those are tree houses in Laguna, I think. They also have the book share things where they put the boxes out so that you can share books. Some beautiful pictures that I took while I was out in the field. Oh wait, there was multiples up here too. More dragons. I love the dragons. Oh yeah, this guy came with a potbelly pig to the farmer's market in Laguna Beach. Saw Laguna. Oh, this is when I took the picture because I had to send it to whoever was in charge of me that day, whichever boss I had, and say, I don't think this is exactly a safe entryway, so I'm going to pass. I think that's Top of the World. Yeah, it says some pics from Top of the World. I talked to the resident who actually, like, you know, I got signatures from her, and I asked her about this tree. It's apparently like it requires a lot of pruning and maintenance every year, but it's such an interesting looking tree. Life began in a garden. They have beautiful houses in Laguna Beach. This was on the church. That was on the church. Um, because we did have a registered voter at the church that we were trying to reach. So this is going to be around New Year's sometime, because I was experiencing some severe joint pain right around New Year's from walking those cliffs. This is when they had their Christmas decorations up. This is the fancy mobile home park. This is a great place to get signatures. This is the most fancy mobile home park I've ever seen in my life. It's raining on the ocean. You can see it coming down. They have ocean views. One of the residents told me that it costs, like, to rent one of those units, it costs over $4,000 a month, and that's a mobile home. It's a mobile home. But some of them are double deckers, and they're tiny. They are kind of tiny, though. You know. This was at the top of the complex. It was the highest point. This is, I think, where they sell pottery off of Coast Highway. I think that's where that was taken. These are the glasses that my son gave me for Christmas. You know, it was hard work. It was hard on my body. I enjoyed what I was doing. I enjoyed the people that I was working with. But it was incredibly dangerous and grueling. Grueling work. You can see the fog rolling in. This is when I was doing one of the higher portions of Laguna Beach. It makes it look like you're in a floating city, like you're in Bespin or something. It was my Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, there's two here. Los Amigos. That's right. And there was, I think there was like Moreno Street, like right down the way from here. There was like a Moreno Street right down the way from it too. This was in the park where we used to launch from in Glendale. This is all from the park we used to launch in. These are a couple of the dogs that surprised me. Like, I went through the gate and they were old dogs and they just came up and sniffed me. I was lucky that day. That day I was lucky. Pride Palm Springs. This is all Pride Pop Springs. More art in Laguna. This one is hilarious. That's actually the front door. It's the front fucking door. That was on my list. It was in my PDI data. So I'm like, well, that's interesting. I knocked on it. They answered and they signed my petitions. They apparently were still working on fixing this situation. I don't know how they get it. They probably have like a door that goes into their garage or something, right? But that is the actual front door. And I took my golf ball and I knocked on it and they answered. There's Gia. I reported to Gia in Georgia. She came out to help us one day in Laguna. Here's Bridget. Bridget and I were co-team leads for a little bit. There's Stephanie. Stephanie went on to become the political director for Supervisor Katrina Foley. She came out to canvass with us as well. Gay trivia night in West Hollywood. Oh yeah. Okay, so I think I've gone further than my time as a canvas team lead. Jam is a friend of mine who passed away a little over a year ago. Rest in peace, Jam.